Hi everyone, I'm back, and it's fair to say that November has been a busy month in the world of football. As the World Cup gets into full swing, we'll take a look at what's happened in the month of November when it comes to football and finance. Earlier in the month, we saw Manchester City publish their financial statements for the year ended 30th of June 2022. There were some significant numbers to recognise within that announcement, most notably record revenues at £613 million and record profits at just over £41 million. If you delved into the figures any further, you'd note that the cost of the squad exceeded £1 billion, but that's not the most impressive thing for me to note from this announcement. When I think back to when I said I wanted to work in football back in 2010, the city of Manchester was definitely dominated from a footballing perspective by the red side of Manchester. Nowadays, on the pitch, the fortunes have definitely reversed over to the noisy neighbours, as they were known then, to the blue side. Since the arrival of Pep Guardiola at the Etihad Stadium, Manchester City's on-pitch performances have been extremely impressive. Consistency with beautiful football and a winning formula. But again, that's not the most impressive thing from my perspective. Thinking back to the days of dominance on the red side of Manchester with Sir Alex Ferguson, there was consistency with a business plan that sat behind it, or at least the business plan was a function of the on-pitch performance. Manchester United was a club that didn't allow any one player to sit above that of the overall organisation. It had a reputation of being run like a well-oiled business, as well as being able to produce on the pitch. That was a culture that was instilled by Sir Alex and the management team, and it would have trickled down from the players into the backroom staff. You'd see profits being generated by the organisation and those profits being reinvested into the squad, which is exactly what the fans wanted to see. Nowadays, that's exactly what's happening at Manchester City. On-pitch success, now with sustained profitability on the back of COVID-19, record revenues, significant investment in the squad, and all that in the wrapper of investment in the infrastructure and the academy, which is going to see prolonged success. The fortunes have definitely reversed on the pitch, and the blue side of Manchester are now dominating. It's not to say that it'll last forever, but from a finance perspective, the fortunes have also reversed. Whilst I was at City Football Group, Manchester City were definitely in an investment phase, spending more than they generated, particularly on player transfers. But for those that have bothered to read the financial statements of Manchester City that have recently been announced, you'll see at the back end, in the post-balance sheet events, that the club has now, subsequent to the year end, generated a net income from player trading. That's a significant U-turn on what's happened in the past. That means that the commitments for the players that they've bought are less than that for the players that they've sold. It doesn't mean that there's a cash inflow, and it also doesn't mean a profit or a loss. We can't tell that because what we're looking at is a post-balance sheet event disclosure that tells us the net amount over the period of time that we're looking at. And that period of time is from the year end to when the financial statements have been signed. Usually that's towards the end, or if not beyond the end of the transfer window. So not only are Manchester City breaking their own records when it comes to revenue, profit, and investment in the squad, they're also now generating cash from their players that they're selling in excess of those that they're buying. For me, this is a significant change in strategy, and one that was very similar to that of Sir Alex and Manchester United when he was in charge. Pep Guardiola has a team. He doesn't have a group of individuals. That was very similar to that of United in the past. Sir Alex is known to be ruthless, where certain players have been sold on the back of various events. And that model at Manchester United was extremely successful, selling players in their peak and reinvesting those funds. I think this is what we're now seeing at Manchester City, with the likes of Raheem Sterling and Gabriel Jesus being sold on when they're in their prime, or at least coming towards the end of their prime, depending on your opinion. That means that Manchester City can generate significant income from those players. But what's different in the strategy and what's playing out this season? Manchester United tended not to sell players to their Premier League rivals, whereas Manchester City has sold some of their attacking players and some of their defensive players to their top Premier League rivals, the likes of Arsenal and Chelsea. And this is what we might be seeing at the start of this season as Arsenal look to be challenging Manchester City for the Premier League title. This has all come to a head on a global scale, with not only the fans criticising Manchester United ownership, but now their players in the form of Cristiano Ronaldo in an unprecedented interview. I'm not here to comment on that interview in particular, but it's clear to me that there's a significant change that's needed when it comes to Manchester United's business model. Rather than extracting funds through dividends and taking the retained earnings of a well-run organisation in the past and diminishing them, it's now time for the club to invest. And if the ownership aren't willing to do that, then it might be time for a change in ownership. And that's the only way that the club are going to be able to compete in the future. And in the changing landscape of financial fair play rules, with Manchester City investing in line with those rules in their academy and their infrastructure, that's now paying dividends for them, both on and off the pitch. What do you think about the shift in financial power and football power across the city of Manchester? Comment below and leave your thoughts. If you like the video, hit like and subscribe for more. My name's Neil Wood and I'm a football finance professional.